Hello students, welcome to ShirtBack Academy. In our coding lesson today, we're going to be completing Module 3, Conditionals. In this lesson, we're going to be doing harvesting conditionals with Farmer. Let's begin. From the code.org homepage, we're going to click on Learn in the top left corner. That will take us to our next page where we're going to click on Learn More in grades K to 5. We're going to scroll down and we're going to be doing Course D. And in Course D, we're going to be doing lesson number 14, Harvesting with Conditionals. Once we're there, we're going to click on the number 1 and watch our introductory video.
This is the harvester. She runs a big farm and needs your help to pick the crops that are ready to be harvested. Use the move and turn blocks to get the harvester from crop to crop. Then, use the pick blocks to collect all of the corn, lettuce, and pumpkins. The bottom right corner will show you how many are available at that spot. If you see more than one, you'll need to pick the crops multiple times in the same square. Keep an eye out for sprouts. You won't know what crop those are or how many there are until the program is run. So your code may need to check what kind of crop is there before picking it. The sun is shining and it's time to harvest. Let us get started.
All right, great. Thanks, Tessa. Let us get started with coding. Let's click Continue and move on to Puzzle 2. Here in Puzzle 2, our instructions are telling us to get the harvester through the row of corn. We need to see if anything is ready to pick. We're going to use conditionals to look at the sprouts. Each stalk will have 0 or 1 pieces of corn. Let's see if we can figure out the code. The first thing we're going to do is trace our path. When we count our blocks, we see that we have 5. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring over a repeat, and inside I'm going to connect and move forward. This will allow the farmer to move down the path. But now we need to pick the corn. We're going to use an if statement. If there is corn on the path, we want the farmer to pick the corn. Let's double check our code, make sure it's all connected, and click Run. Great job. Let's click Continue and move on to Puzzle 3. Here in Puzzle 3, the garden is all mixed up. It has both corn and lettuce. We need to let the harvester pick up either item when we come to it in the path. Let's go ahead and trace our path for the harvester. I counted 6 blocks. I'm going to bring over a repeat and set it equal to 6. Inside, I'm going to connect and move forward. Now for this puzzle, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to use 2 if statements. We're going to bring one over and say if there is lettuce, pick lettuce. But we also remember that there may be corn. We're going to bring over a second if statement and change it to corn. And we'll pick the corn if we see it. Let's double check our code. We see we have our repeat loop with 2 if statements inside. Let's click Run. We can see we get the lettuce and the corn. Great job. Our 2 if statements allowed us to pick either food depending on which one we saw. Let's click on Continue and move on to Puzzle 4. Here in Puzzle 4, we have corn, lettuce, and pumpkins. Each plant will have one of each food. We need to figure out how to get the farmer down the path and pick each food type. Let's trace our path. When we trace our path, I counted 7 blocks. I'm going to bring over a repeat and set it equal to 7. Inside, we're going to connect and move forward. Now with this puzzle, we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to use 3 if statements. We're going to bring one over for each food. corn, lettuce, and pumpkin. We're going to change the second and third if statements so that now we have one of each food, pumpkins, corn, and lettuce. Inside of each if statement, we should bring over the appropriate food command. Let's double check our code, make sure we have the right food and they're all connected, and then let's click run. We can see we have all food types in the path. And our if statements work. Great job. That was tricky. We had 3 if statements in one program. Let's click continue, move on to puzzle 5. Here in puzzle 5, our instructions are now telling us that our food is growing in clusters. Right now we're in the lettuce garden. Each plant now will have more than one head of lettuce, so we need to make sure that we pick all of it at each plant. Remember, the garden only has lettuce. Let's go ahead and trace our path. I counted 6 blocks. I'm going to bring over a repeat and set it equal to 6. Inside, I'm going to connect and move forward. Now for this puzzle, instead of using an if statement, we're going to use a while loop. Because we have more than one lettuce, we're going to want to make sure that we can continue to pick them up as long as they're there. Inside of our while there is lettuce, we're going to put the pick lettuce command. Let's take a look at our code. We have our repeat 6 times, and inside we have our while there is lettuce loop. We're going to go ahead and make sure everything is connected and click run. We can see in the path that there are more than one lettuce at each one. Great job. Whether there was 3 or 8 lettuce, the farmer was able to harvest them all. Let's click continue and move on to puzzle 6. Here in puzzle 6, we have corn and lettuce growing together with one pumpkin at the end. We need to harvest all the crops. Let's trace our path. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring over a repeat until. We're going to want the farmer to do the code until they get to the pumpkin. Inside, we're going to put a move forward. That will allow our farmer to keep moving until we get there. Inside of our repeat until, we're going to bring over a while loop. While there is corn, we want the farmer to pick it. But remember, we have 2 different foods growing, corn and lettuce. Let's bring over a second while loop, change it to lettuce, and inside, put our pick lettuce command. Now our code looks good, but remember, at the very end, we have a pumpkin. So we're going to bring over one pick pumpkin command. Let's double check our code and click run. We can see we get our lettuce. Now we get our corn and pumpkin. Awesome job. You're starting to learn how the different components of programming go together. Let's click on continue and move on to puzzle 7. Here in puzzle 7, we need to take our farmer all the way through the path to get to the pumpkin. Let's see if we can figure it out. The first thing I'm going to do is bring over a repeat until loop. Inside of our loop, we're going to connect a move forward. And now we're going to bring over a while there loop. We want our farmer to collect all the corn as long as there is some there. We're also going to bring over an if statement. We see that in the path that the farmer must turn left at each corner. So we're going to bring over our if statement and connect a turn left command. We're going to trace our path one last time. And we can see that we need to bring over our one pick pumpkin command for the very end. Let's check our code one last time and click run. We can see that the farmer moves forward, and wherever there's corn, stops to pick it all. Every time we hit a corner, she turns left. Our code is working well. And for dessert, a pumpkin. Well done, everybody. That was our toughest one yet. Let's move on to puzzle 8. Here in puzzle 8, we have a challenge puzzle. These stretch our brains. Let's see how we do. Here in puzzle 8, it's asking us to collect all the corn and lettuce and pick the pumpkin at the end. Let's trace our path. At the corner, we turn right, forward, and right. Are you seeing a pattern? To begin our code, the first thing we're going to bring over is a repeat until loop. We're going to do the same code until we get to the pumpkin. We're going to bring over a while path ahead loop, and inside place a move forward. Whenever there's an open space ahead, we want the farmer to move. Now we're going to bring over an if statement. We're going to put it inside the while loop and set it so that if there is lettuce, the farmer picks it. We're going to bring a second if statement over and say if there is corn, pick corn. We saw that at each corner, our farmer must turn right. We're going to bring over a turn right command and connect it at the very end inside our repeat until. At the very end, we have one pumpkin to pick. Let's double check our code. We have our repeat until. Inside we have a nested while path ahead loop. And inside of the while path ahead there are two if statements. Let's click run. We can see both of our if statements work. And so does our while path ahead. Whether corn or lettuce, the farmer is getting the food. Oh, our code was working great, but we left some corn behind. Where did we go wrong? This is the difference between an if statement and a while loop. We have an if statement over here in the code saying if there is corn to pick it. But there's only one corn. If we have more than one corn, we need to use the while loop. So we're going to change our code. We found a bug. Now instead of using our if statements, we're going to use our while loops. While there is lettuce, we want to pick the lettuce. While there is corn, we want to pick the corn. That way we don't leave any crops behind. Now when we hit run, we see that our code is still working well. So far all the crops have only been one. Now as we get to the corn with 3, our while loop works. We get all the crop. Great job, everybody. Challenge puzzle complete. That was a tricky one. Let's click continue and move on to puzzle 9. Here in puzzle 9, it's asking us to collect all the corn and lettuce and pick the pumpkin. Let's trace our path. We can see our farmer goes forward, turns right, and continues along the path. Do you see the pattern? To start our code, we're going to bring over a repeat until. Our farmer will move forward, but if there is a crop, we need to pick it. If we see corn, we're going to pick corn. But if there is lettuce, we're going to pick lettuce. You can see now we have a double nested loop. At each corner we saw that our farmer must turn right, and at the very end we have one pumpkin. Let's double check our code, make sure they're all connected, and click run. We can see our farmer goes forward, turns right, and whether there's one or multiple is able to get the crop. Until we get to our pumpkin. Great job, everybody. 2 more puzzles. Let's finish strong. Here in puzzle 10, it's asking us to collect all of the corn and lettuce and then pick the pumpkin. We know we're going to begin our program with a repeat until. We can see from the path, the first thing our farmer will do is move forward and turn right. Then she'll move forward again, but this time we're going to bring over a while loop. While there is corn, we want to pick corn. But also we know that if there is lettuce, we want to pick the lettuce. So let's check our code. In our repeat until, we're going forward, right, forward, and then when we get to the crop, we're either picking corn or picking lettuce. Now the next thing we're going to bring over is another turn. Our code allows us to get to each crop, but after we pick it, each time we must turn left. At the end, we will pick our pumpkin. Let's double check our code, trace our path, and click run. Awesome job! I can see that you've learned all of our new skills. Final puzzle, number 11. Here in puzzle 11 we have a multiple choice. It's telling us the sprouts in the puzzle are either corn or lettuce. Take a look at the code below what will happen when we click run. It would be A, the harvester collects all the crops, B, the harvester will not pick any of the crops, or C, the harvester will pick all the crops except the pumpkin. Let's take a look at our code. We see we have a repeat until there are pumpkins. Inside, our farmer goes forward, left, forward, right. We have 2 while loops. While there's corn, we pick corn. While there is lettuce, we pick lettuce. Let's trace our path. How does the path match up to the code? I noticed at the end of our code we don't have our pick pumpkin command. I'm going to choose answer C. I think our code will get all of the food except for the pumpkin at the end. Let's click run. And we were correct. Great job, everybody. That will conclude this lesson in Module 3. Great job. You guys are doing excellent in the course. In our next lesson, we're going to begin Module 4, Functions and Sprites. If you have any questions about this lesson, find the appropriate time stamp of the video and review that section. We thank you for following along to this video, and we will see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.